Why do some businesses flourish while others crumble and fail? This question has baffled economists, entrepreneurs, and scholars for ages. As we delve into this enigma, we'll explore the intricacies of business failure, its impact, and its undeniable relevance in today's rapidly evolving marketplace. Business failure isn't just about a company going under. It's a saga of missed opportunities, miscalculated risks, and sometimes sheer bad luck. But more than that, it's a narrative that shapes economies, affects livelihoods, and redefines industries. We'll journey through real-world case studies examining the rise and fall of giants who once seemed invincible. We'll look at the decisions they made, the circumstances they faced, and the lessons we can glean from their experiences. So whether you're an aspiring entrepreneur, a seasoned business person, or someone simply intrigued by the dynamics of the corporate world, this is a tale you won't want to miss. Stay tuned as we unravel the mystery behind business failure. Remember Kodak, the iconic company that dominated the photography industry for a century? Yes, we're talking about the same Kodak that was once synonymous with capturing cherished memories. Kodak was a titan in its field, with a history that dates back to the late 19th century. Founded by George Eastman, it was a pioneer that took photography from the studios to the hands of the common man. For decades, Kodak was the gold standard in the photography world, with a market share that was the envy of its competitors. But then came the digital revolution. The world was moving from film to digital, from tangible photos to pixels on a screen. Here's where Kodak faltered. Despite having invented the digital camera back in 1975, they didn't capitalize on this groundbreaking technology. Why, you ask? Well, Kodak was so entwined with film photography, it feared that embracing digital would cannibalize its lucrative film business. Kodak's reluctance to adapt to the changing landscape resulted in a slow but steady decline. Competitors who were quick to adopt the digital wave, like Canon and Nikon, surged ahead. As the new millennium rolled in, the digital tide was unstoppable, and Kodak's market share dwindled. By 2012, Kodak, the behemoth that once boasted a market capitalization of $31 billion, filed for bankruptcy. The company that had once been a trailblazer in its industry had become a cautionary tale. What does this story tell us? It underscores the importance of adaptation. In an ever-evolving technological landscape, clinging to old ways can be fatal for businesses. Adaptation is not merely an option, it's a necessity for survival. Kodak's failure to embrace the digital revolution led to its downfall, a harsh lesson in the importance of adapting to technological changes. Blockbuster, once a household name, is now a ghost of the past. What happened? The tale of Blockbuster is a fascinating study of a company that was once at the pinnacle of the video rental industry, only to eventually crumble into oblivion. Its story is a poignant reminder of the brutal reality that businesses face in today's fast-paced, digitally driven world. Blockbuster's rise to prominence was nothing short of meteoric. By the late 90s, the brand had become synonymous with movie rentals. Families would flock to their local Blockbuster on weekends, browsing through aisles of VHS tapes and later DVDs, creating memories and forging a bond with the brand. However, as the new millennium dawned, the world began to change. The internet was fast becoming a dominant force, revolutionizing industries and altering consumer behavior. Online streaming services led by Netflix began to emerge, offering a more convenient, cost-effective way for consumers to watch movies and TV shows. Blockbuster, however, chose to stick to its tried and tested brick-and-mortar model. It failed to recognize the seismic shift in consumer preferences that was taking place. Even as customers began to drift towards the convenience of online streaming, Blockbuster remained steadfast in its belief that the physical experience of renting a movie could never be replicated online. This refusal to innovate and adapt to changing market dynamics proved to be Blockbuster's downfall. By the time it finally attempted to pivot towards online services, it was too late. Netflix had already established a strong foothold in the market, and Blockbuster, despite its former glory, was unable to compete. In the end, Blockbuster's story serves as a stark reminder of the importance of innovation and adapting to consumer preferences. It is a testament to the fact that even industry giants can fall if they fail to evolve in the face of change. So as we navigate the ever-evolving business landscape, let's remember the lessons from Blockbuster's tale. Blockbuster's downfall is a classic example of what happens when a company fails to innovate and adapt to changing consumer preferences. Nokia, once the world's largest vendor of mobile phones, is now struggling to stay relevant. Why? Let's take a trip down memory lane. In the early 21st century, Nokia was a titan in the mobile phone industry. From the sturdy, brick-like devices to the sleek N-series, Nokia was a household name, a synonym for mobile phones. But as the saying goes, the bigger they are, the harder they fall. So, what caused this giant to stumble? The advent of smartphones was the turning point. Apple launched its first iPhone in 2007, and the world of mobile phones was never the same. This new breed of phones had a sleek design, a user-friendly interface, and most importantly, an app ecosystem. They were not just phones, they were mini computers in the palm of your hand. Nokia, on the other hand, was stuck in the past. They were still banking on their Symbian platform, which was far from user-friendly and lacked the charm of the new iOS and Android systems. Nokia failed to read the writing on the wall. They underestimated the potential of smartphones and overestimated the loyalty of their customer base. In an attempt to catch up, Nokia partnered with Microsoft in 2011, hoping that the Windows Phone platform would be their saving grace. But alas, it was too little, too late. The Windows Phone system was not well received by consumers, and Nokia's smartphone, the Lumia, failed to make a significant impact. In the end, Nokia was sold to Microsoft in 2014, marking the end of an era. The company that once sold nearly half of the world's mobile phones was now just a footnote in the annals of tech history. So, what can we learn from Nokia's story? It's simple. In the world of business, especially tech, complacency is a killer. It's important to keep up with the changing trends, to innovate, and most importantly, to listen to what the consumers want. Nokia's downfall serves as a reminder of the importance of competition and staying ahead of the curve. So, what can we learn from these business failures? Well, let's distill the main reasons that have been discussed in this video. They come down to three fundamental issues: failure to adapt to technological changes, failure to innovate and adapt to changing consumer preferences, and failure to compete and stay ahead of the curve. Firstly, let's look at the failure to adapt to technological changes. This is like refusing to acknowledge the elephant in the room. In our increasingly digital age, technology is not just an add-on to business, it is the bedrock. An inability to embrace new technologies can leave a business stranded in the past while its competitors race ahead into the future. Secondly, we have the failure to innovate and adapt to changing consumer preferences. Today's consumers are not a static group, they're dynamic. Their preferences shift and their needs evolve. Businesses that don't take the time to understand and respond to these changes risk becoming irrelevant. Like a tree that doesn't bend with the wind, they can snap under the pressure of changing demands. Lastly, there's the failure to compete and stay ahead of the curve. Competition in business is a given, but staying ahead of it requires constant vigilance and agility. Businesses that rest on their laurels, that don't constantly seek to improve and evolve, risk being overtaken by those that do. It's a bit like a game of chess. You always need to think a few moves ahead. But it's important to remember that these failures are not inevitable. Businesses can and do overcome these challenges every day. They do so by fostering a culture of continuous learning and adaptation. They stay curious, they stay hungry, and they stay focused on their customers. So, to avoid the fate of Kodak, Blockbuster, and Nokia, businesses must adapt, innovate, and compete. Because in the end, the only constant in business is change. And those who can't navigate that change are destined to join the ranks of the fallen. Business failure is not a death sentence, but a learning opportunity. It's a narrative that we've seen played out time and again in the stories of Kodak, Blockbuster, and Nokia. These towering giants of industry, once thought invincible, crumbled under the weight of their own mistakes. But their stories are not tales of doom and gloom. Rather, they serve as powerful reminders of the importance of adaptability, resilience, and the courage to learn from our failures. Every stumble, every misstep, every failed venture is an opportunity to grow, to learn, and to come back stronger. It's about having the tenacity to stare failure in the face and say, I can learn from this, I can do better. It's about understanding that the road to success is paved with lessons learned from failure. So let's take these stories to heart, learn from the past, and stride confidently into the future. Remember, in the world of business, it's not about how many times you fall, but how many times you get up and fight back.